The rays from the sun beat down on the water of the bay. The water was warmer and the ocean floor was covered in moss and coral reefs, through which all forms of sea life could swim in and out of.
Ah, this is the life. A nice vacation, warm waters, a delicious sushi breakfast, and even time to have a remora clean the parasites off my skin.
Remora are small fish that can cling to the skin of a whale, turtle, or shark and live off the parasites that surround the larger animal. Anyway, Lightfin seemed a lot more relaxed now that he was on holiday.
I practically feel like a new shark. Now, if only fish would stop asking me about Ray Manta. What is he really like, and if he is actually that good looking?
Maybe he wasn't that relaxed. As he swam along, he tried not to think about it, trying to avoid the red mist of anger clouding his mind.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Just relax.
The ocean slowly became deeper and deeper, with the bottom sloping downwards. The currents gently moved seaweed, shells, and pebbles along the floor. Suddenly, there was a cry from close by.
Steve! Steve! Help me! Help me! Somebody help me!
Lightfin briefly thought about swimming away. He was supposed to be on holiday, and he felt he really didn't need this right now. But when he looked around, he couldn't see anyone else moving to help the hermit crab who was calling for help. So, he swam over.
Oh, what seems to be the problem?
You must help me! It's terrible! It's a disaster! Why, oh why do these things happen to me?
Okay, just take a deep breath. Calm down to something less than a panic. Now, what exactly has happened?
The hermit crab was actually quite large for a hermit crab, almost 4 centimeters big. His red legs were waving around in very agitated fashion. His 2 green eyes on their long stalks were weaving backwards and forwards as he took in the sight of Lightfin.
Oh my, you're...
Yes, I know, I'm a shark. But honestly, I'm here to help you. I just ate a huge platter of sushi for breakfast, and besides, you really aren't my type.
No, not that. You're the detective from the news.
Oh, that. Well, you...
This is brilliant. I'm Doug. I am sure with a mastermind like you in the case, my problem will be solved in no time at all.
Yes. Well, what exactly is your problem? I can't really see why you were shouting. If it's not too much trouble, I would like to get back to my holiday.
You mean you didn't notice? I'm missing my shell, detective. I'm a hermit crab, and I must have a shell to live in. It's what protects me from national predators in the ocean. Not meaning you, of course.
Ah, I see. And where did you last see your shell? If you don't mind me also asking, isn't that part of your body like other crabs?
Not at all. We hermit crabs live inside shells that are abandoned by others.
Oh.
Well, what happened was, I was in the process of moving between shells. For weeks, my shell had been getting a bit small. If I had a big meal, like some delicious plankton, I'd barely fit inside. This morning, I was thrilled when I found an empty, round grass tripod. Shell that looked just a little perfect. It looked so roomy, I went inside my old shell to get things for my new home. When I came out, the shell was gone. I rushed out of my old shell and looked everywhere, but it was nowhere to be found.
Why didn't you just go back to your old shell?
Well, when I turned around, it was gone too. In fact, the more I have looked, there are no shells left around here, which is impossible. I know that something's going on. Now I am stranded out here unprotected. I feel so exposed.
Is there anyone you can think of that might want your old shell or your new shell?
Well, my cousin Ernie is smaller than me, although don't mention that around him. He has a real temper, and being called small really gets him worked up. He's been bugging me to leave my shell for a while. You know, that's how it works for us hermit crabs. When you grow too big for your shell, you're leaving behind for someone smaller than you.
Fascinating.
Oh, and there's Shelly, the decorator crab. She is always gathering up all sorts of shells and coral pieces and sticking them to herself. Frankly, I think it's her fashion taste is a little bit out there, but she thinks it looks good, and it's camouflage from anything that might want to eat her. Oh, Oh, and Coco, the kleptopus.
Excuse me, I feel a headache coming on. What's a kleptopus?
A kleptopus? Well, that's just what I call her. She is actually a vein octopus. She is often also looking for shells and taking them. I mean, she isn't even a crab. Why does she need a shell?
Let me see what I can find out. Do you have somewhere to hide while I go and investigate?
I'm going to crawl under that rock over there. If I crawl deep enough, hopefully no one will be able to see me.
Lightfin slipped through the water silently, keeping an eye out for shells, crabs, and octopi as he went. Doug's story definitely sounded odd, but Lightfin couldn't work out why anyone would be stealing shells.
Why would anyone want these shells? I mean, they are sparkly, but they don't seem to do anything. Look at that hermit crab over there. Boy, oh boy, he seems angry, bashing that old coconut shell with his left claw. What a strange-looking fellow without a shell. Hold on.
This hermit crab looked quite different from Doug, a bit smaller, but he had a giant left claw, which was almost as big as the rest of his body. His legs and claw were striped black and white like a zebra.
Excuse me, are you okay?
What's it to you, pal?
Hey, watch it! I'm just trying to help. Keep that up and someone might take it personally. Are you Ernie?
That's me. Why? You think I need a big sharky helping this little crab? How you gonna do that? You gonna eat me? Put an end to all my problems?
Lightfin was surprised when Ernie scuttled towards him. His eye stalks were almost touching the tip of Lightfin's nose. It would have looked quite funny to anyone who might have been passing. Not for the first time, today Lightfin wished he could just go back to his holiday.
What is your problem? I spoke to your cousin Doug, and he mentioned some sort of issue with shells and how they went missing.
Yeah, well, that's what he says happened. I bet he's probably lying. I mean, if he didn't want to give me a shell, he should just say so. It's always the same with him. He wants to keep everything for himself.
Could the shells have been stolen?
I don't know about that, Detective. It could be the case, but then it could also be that Doug just misplaced his shell. He is kind of forgetful.
And you haven't seen his old shell?
No. Why do you think I'm so angry? Or perhaps you think that all us lefties are just this way?
Well, if the claw fits.
All I know is that he promised it to me, and now he says it's gone and I need to find something else. It's ridiculous. I have very specific needs, you know. I won't just take any old shell. It needs to be the right one for me and my claw.
The right one for a lefty?
Ernie's face seemed to be turning a shade of purple.
Okay. He did mention a decorator crab called Shelly and a veined octopus called Coco who could have taken the shells.
Oh, you think one of those two might have taken the shells? Why, if I catch them, I'll...
Do you think they could have?
Well, they both like shells, but I have my doubts, as they have very different tastes. Shelly tends to like the smaller shells that she then sticks to her body. Coco looks for shells that she can use to move around and hide in. She might have done it, but I don't know. Say, aren't you that shark from the news story?
No, sorry, I really don't know what you're talking about. And no, I don't know Ray Manta. Gotta go. I'll let you know if I find anything.
Lightfin quickly hustled away from Ernie, who was beginning to wave around his oversized left claw as he was starting to say something.
Oh, fine! Then there's no chance I'll see that shell again, Detective!
Soon after, Lightfin was passing through an even more beautiful part of the ocean. The reefs were a range of beautiful tropical colors, reds, greens, and blues. The slope in the ocean floor was flattening out, and large piles of rocks, shells, algae, and moss rested against the coral. He almost swam right past Shelley, but then he noticed one of those piles shift in the opposite direction to the current, and he quickly turned around.
Hello? Sorry, but is there anyone in there?
Two eyes peered out from what looked like a pile of sea debris, but Lightfin now saw that it was carefully attached to the crab's body.
There isn't anyone here. Please leave us alone.
Shelly, the decorator crab? I don't want to hurt you. I am just looking for some information about some missing shells.
Oh, shells. I love shells. Actually, I love anything I can stick to myself. And as I grow, I keep needing more and more things to stick to my body. I guess you might say it is a bit of an obsession.
Did you see any shells that were suitable for a hermit crab to live in? Ernie and Doug are missing their shells.
Before Shelley could answer, a clamshell came scuttling towards them, propelled forward by tentacles.
What under the sea can that be? I haven't seen a shell moving quite like that before. How on earth am I ever going to figure this out if everyone around here hides inside or under things?
Suddenly, the head of an octopus popped out of the shell.
Hello, Detective. Hello, Shelley.
I'm sorry, but do we know each other?
No, we never met, but I saw how you saved those fish on the news the other night. You were so brave. I'm Coco.
Hi, Coco. Nice shell.
Oh, well, that wasn't anything. Really, I was just talking to Shelley here, but I was actually looking for you too. I heard from Ernie and Doug that you collect seashells.
Shelley quickly piped up.
Doug and Ernie are an odd couple. Ernie always comes across as so angry, but he's really a sweetheart. And Doug, he's always confused. I swear, sometimes he forgets what day of the week it is.
I do like seashells, but they need to be a specific size and shape. I'm very picky, but shells are so fabulous, darling.
Oh, are they similar to the type of shells which hermit crabs might use as their homes?
No, not really. I'm actually very particular about my shells. As I'm a bit larger than most hermit crabs, I wouldn't be interested in their shells. Also, I like them round. I've even been known to use a coconut shell. You can check out my video on YouTube.
Sorry, you what?
I saw that one. It was so funny.
Look, never mind. So, have either of you ever noticed anything odd happening around here? It seems like those two crabs are missing their shells.
I can't say I have, but this is a great part of the ocean for us decorators. There's always a lot of vintage stuff around. What with the warm waves, everything gets washed around and we can gather all the pieces that we need.
Lightfin started to take a long, hard look around, and as he took in the wonderful colors and all the different items covering the seashore, he realized how beautiful it all was. Then, just as he felt himself drifting away, he caught a glimpse of something.
Say, would you girls mind going to fetch Ernie and Doug? I think I might have solved this case.
Well, Lightfin knew what happened. Have you figured it out? Can you guess who the culprit is and what happened? We will give you 15 seconds to make your best guess. Well, did you figure it out? Let's see. Coco and Shelley soon returned, with Doug and Ernie trailing after.
If you didn't want to give me the shell, you should have just said so! Why do you always need to be so dramatic? Oh, someone stole my shell. Bah, humbug!
Hey, watch who you're talking to. I am 1 centimeter bigger than you, and I don't care about your silly claw. I'll...
You'll what? Come on, buddy boy. Make my day.
You need to ask yourself, do you feel lucky?
Ernie and Doug started circling each other, clicking their claws and trying to look menacing. Lightfin brought his fin down between the two of them, creating an immovable barrier.
Oi, you two cut it out. I think I solved your mystery, and you might just get your shells back.
Aha! There was a mystery. Who stole my shells? Was it Coco? I bet she did it. She has always been eyeing up my fine taste in shellware.
Excuse me, I don't think so. You and your shell are so not my type.
No, Doug, I'm sorry to say it wasn't Coco. As flexible and adaptable as octopus are, she is quite a bit larger than you, and I don't think you share the same taste in shell shapes.
Doug thumped Ernie, who fell onto a shellless back.
I knew it! If it wasn't Coco, it must have been Shelly. She's always gathering everything up and sticking it to herself.
Sorry, Ernie, it's not Shelly either. If Shelly had taken the shells, then we would easily be able to see them stuck on the outer fibers which cover her body where all the other shells and moss are attached.
Before Lightfin could expand on his reasoning, Ernie jumped on top of Doug's back and bonked him on the head with his large left claw. Before Ernie could flip himself back over, Doug quickly turned to face him.
You too, Ernie. I knew it was you. Just couldn't wait, could ya?
Stop!
Ernie and Doug both peered at Lightfin, their eyes straining on their eye stalks.
Actually, the culprit is you, Doug, although not deliberately. I hadn't noticed it earlier, but closer to the hotel, the slope in that part of the ocean is very steep. When Doug saw the new shell, he went inside his old shell to get his things. While that happened, the new one rolled down the slope. Then when he left the old shell, it washed away by the time he had turned around. All the debris from further up the bank appears to gather down here, close to the coral. I believe if you look in those piles, you will find your shells. Or suitable replacements, whatever.
Ernie and Doug both gave a small crab-like shrug, and Crab walked off to the nearby pile of washed-up debris. Sure enough, after 3 or 4 minutes of digging, there was a small shout of joy.
Hooray! Yippee!
Yippee!
First Ernie and then Doug emerged, wearing their shiny shells.
I do say, those shells are actually quite nice.
Lightfin decided to leave the island resorts before anything else happened. He'd had enough vacation to last him for quite a while. After a long, relaxing swim back to his office, he was almost feeling like his old self when...
Thank goodness that's all over. No more vacations for me. They're too stressful. Wait a minute. What are you doing here?
Almost as if to answer Lightfin's question, a large dark shape swam out of the shadow of the doorway to Lightfin's office.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Lightfin Case Files. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review or a rating on your podcast app or on Facebook. This episode featured the remarkable voices of Scott Allen, Isabel Landivar, Chris Castro, David Izquierdo, Sarah Bobba, and Selena Hill.